Hello everyone, my name is Savannah Vasquez and I will be presenting on the late start times in high schools, specifically in California. As for table of contents, I will be talking about the background as well as my solution. Background. On average, before late start time, students were asked to attend school before 8 a.m. On average, students would have to wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. because bus transportation started at 5:30 a.m. This meant that for students who had to use transportation, again, they would have to wake up at 5 a.m. On average, students and teachers must receive 9 hours of sleep in order to effectively consolidate and teach the information, because around the teenage years, students start developing hormones which affect their circadian rhythm. This delays the time that students go to sleep. So on top of having to wake up early, students also have their hormones suppressing the amount of sleep they get. Impacts of early start times. Not sleeping the sufficient time necessary may cause many negative impacts, for instance, a lower GPA. It has been scientifically proven that students who do not sleep sufficiently, 7 to 9 hours, will see a decrease in their GPA because they cannot allow their brains to consolidate the information sufficiently in order to apply it to their exams or their homework assignments. Not only does it decrease their GPA average, it also de-escalates mental and physical health. A decrease in sleep can cause anxiety, depression, and mood changes. When it comes to your physical health, people start seeing high blood pressure, potentially diabetes or obesity. Our sleep circadian rhythm plays a crucial role into how our body functions, especially because our body has many circadian rhythms that work together with the sleep circadian rhythm. Not getting enough sleep can also increase tardiness and absences. It can cause students to miss school and prevent from learning to actually happen. Interventions done for the issue. There have been two main interventions occur in order to advocate for later start times. The first one being state senators to be involved in taking action. State Senator Portantino took initiative to collect research and create a bill that resolves the issue of early start times. This bill is CA Senate Bill 328. It has been introduced on February of 2017 and has been enacted since 2019. This bill was only affected to urban school districts in California. This bill states that high school students cannot start earlier than 8:30. Middle schools cannot start earlier than 8 a.m. Another avenue of intervention is advocacy. The California Parent-Teacher Association teamed up to bring support and advocacy towards early start times. Many spoke up about this issue to gain political action. After the bill was passed, there were various effects that occurred immediately. As stated before, a new bus schedule was implemented on urban high schools and middle schools. There's there's also a change on the average time slept for students. Recent studies conducted that are shown through Portantino's packet for the bill showed that after implementing late start times, students were able to get 20 minutes more on an average of sleep than when earlier start times were implemented. Not only was there an increase of sleep, but there's also a decrease in tardiness and absences. Health benefits also seen when it comes to the late start times, such as depression, sleep deprivation, and anxiety. Physical health may also include a decrease in high blood pressure, obesity, and diabetes. So if there are so many positive benefits in this, what are the negatives of it? For instance, athletes will not be able to practice later because in California the heat, so meaning that athletes may have to cancel practice in the afternoon, meaning that they will have to wake up earlier in order to actually do the practices that they need. For instance, 4 to 5 a.m., they'd have to wake up. Parents, work conflict and time conflict. Some of them may have more than one child, which goes on to conflict in general, meaning that they have to take several kids to different schools, meaning elementary, middle school, and high school potentially. And so this can cause a conflict between times. Budget as well. Money must be reallocated for transportation. This can be seen in various school districts. They may have to reallocate time in order to hire more bus drivers for students. Weather, like mentioned before, fall semester gets really hot. California usually reaches max of an average 120 degrees. In traffic, school times are much closer to each other. For instance, San Bernardino City Unified School District, some schools are very close together. This could be middle schools, elementary schools, and high schools, which causes so much traffic, especially if the times are so conjoined together. Conflict, those with more than one kid, like mentioned before, but also appointments. Many teachers have argued about appointments, especially because they can conflict with times now that they have a less lenient time to schedule. Scope of the issue at hand. Here you will see a chart from the American Psychological Association, which can be seen on Portantino's packet, which is the school night hours of sleep by age. You can also see a diagram of the potential mechanistic pathways that can increase the risk of obesity. Also, another thing is that I also conducted research last year on asking students about what they believed about the new start times in my school district, which was implemented last year. And about 60% of students from one school mentioned that they did not like it. 40% of students mentioned no on another high school, and 50% to 60% on another high school. But there are some limitations with the data that is mentioned. So, for instance, this is just SBCUSD high schools only, meaning that it hasn't been targeted at all California schools, especially because it was just last year that was implemented, so it might not be effective. And it's only nine high schools out of all of California which were interviewed. Limited responses, not all students responded, meaning that we got very few students to respond from each high school. And also the questions were very broad, meaning that the questions are not specific, so they probably won't be able to target as much on the time. This is my proposal on how to ensure late start times benefit everyone and resolve the problems arisen by CA Senate Bill 328. What the first main thing is to postpone the bill, meaning that I would like to test the bill in a sense and create a different alternative. So this comes with three steps: research, test proposal, and next steps. Research on the current bill. I still want to do more research, especially all across of California. Research around California, survey before and after. Test a proposal, create a new time based on research, two different options, and test them out. Next steps is if seen that the research shows negative impacts, resume CA Senate Bill 328, and if research shows positive impact, create a new proposal. The proposal timeline, as you can mention before, late 2025, early 2026, late 2026, such as areas, research discussion. And then early 2027, late 2027 is plan, implement, finalization. This includes talking to politicians about how we can implement a new timeline, a new time in case the students do agree that this is too much for them, especially if they're athletes or have extracurricular activities. Some restrictions to this is that there are 977 school districts in California, meaning that that is too much for us to be able to handle, especially moving on with the student to research team ratio. There are approximately 5 million students in California. It may also take too much time to do research, 2 to 3 years, and not enough advocacy / attention because students and parents might already be happy with the time. Addressing barriers, amount of school districts only focus on approximately 2 to 3 school districts within a county. Time constraint, create a strict deadline for when forms and research should be submitted. Student to team ratio, provide a nonprofit org to gain people from all over the state to see who's interested holding a research team in the area. So kind of like a broad thing. Of course, like mentioned before, there are too many school districts within California. So that means that broadening them to 2 to 3 school districts going based off of county can be very specific, but also increase time of how we're doing this but also getting efficient people. I'm also creating like a nonprofit org in a sense, talking to people who are interested and passionate about this topic, getting them to do research within their own county and bringing it back to the big research committee to start seeing how we can get a proposal. And again, as mentioned before, the people that will be impacted are 5 million people, um, especially because they are students. I would like to take the time to mention two concepts that have been mentioned in Gen Ed Sleep that I believe coincide with what I'm talking about right now. One of them being that sleep affects cardiovascular control, sleep deficiency increases risk for cardiovascular disease, and sleep extension may lower blood pressure. Like mentioned before, when you are not getting enough sleep, you are not taking care of your body because your sleep circadian rhythm is aligned with your internal circadian rhythm, which could be the circadian rhythm within your digestive system, your immune system, and it has a lot to do with how you take care of yourself. And this is why some students may end up increasing diabetes, high blood pressure, and obesity. One other concept that I would like to talk about is early morning start times in high school students induce sleep deficiency in adolescents and have been associated with degraded academic performance, impaired mood, increased risk of 18, and an increased risk of motor vehicle crashes, which is from week 9. And this just basically is talking about how we see a lot about how students have a constant mood changes, especially in the morning, which could lead to tardiness, absences, leads them to not be able to efficiently consolidate the information in classes, which is also another topic within the sleep class. Here are the citations that I used. Some of these citations weren't actually added to the Google Slides, but majority of these were used based off of my script and what I talked about. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation.